second? Or I mean, can I have a second? I don't have a second, and I want to ask you for a second. Thank you. All in favor, please vote.
Participating bonus. 27K
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had to vote on the same thing, yeah. But it is for the 27th. I think it's 2.5, isn't it? So we have 90 days. I don't know why it's 2.5. Yeah. Oh, in this particular one. Yeah, for the 27th and for the bonus. Yes. All right. So I have a first and a second, right? Yes. All in favor, signify by aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, next is the sheriff.
Hello, Council. These funds are our operational special funds that we have to appropriate every year. The money's already there. They're not grants. It's all funds that we have for, like, firearms we get from the state, and we get photo funds from redactions and things like that.
Anybody have any questions about any of these?
Are these all miscellaneous funds? Yeah, and when we get the budget, we didn't appropriate them at all, or did it appropriate specific line items?
Well, I think the only one that we had a line item issue with was the starving. All of these are monies that were not appropriated for the budget. They all need to be done in the budget.
But this is like what you were just
Yes.
I think the budget was good. Second.
Okay, I have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Did anybody have any comments? I forgot to do them. All right. We are on to new money, but I want to just back up 1 second. On our bonus pay, we resolved that all last meeting, did we not? And are we all set for that? Yes. Okay, we'll make sure.
Yeah.
That we carved out and that they their recommendation for the council. And then people that would receive raises in other ways, for things like probation officer, people on the contract, which is going to be carved out. So only for the people that essentially don't get any raise.
That would be great. And so is it listed everybody that's getting as well as everybody that's not?
It's just listed for people that are not.
Okay, perfect. That would be great. Thank you. Okay, next is new money. Sure.
These amounts are what was agreed to in the contract, the 21% pay raises for the merit body.
So basically, I'm just going to reiterate what happened here. So you took $150,000 out of your other line item.
Yes.
And put it into the salary line item.
Right.
And then the $150,000 that you need in that fund, you're going to utilize the
Commissary.
Correct. Right?
Yes.
Anybody have a question on this? Okay.
So we have all these line items that are positive, and then we have the $50,000 that's increase.
So you're taking
So
the
why is the total?
It took 2 minutes to. All right, 2 minutes to, yeah. So this is basically the increase, total increase for the 21%. correct?
Yes. Yes.
So it doesn't balance out when you get the yes. And then I do have, Todd sent me today, before we vote on this, Todd sent me today the resolution from the finance board and the commissioners agreeing to the $300,000 that we have to request it. So that's something that will, I'm going to keep on the forefront there. And we'll have some conversation with Todd, Glenn, and how to do that. And then the remainder of it, which is, the remainder, which is about $77,000, which is the council's going to have to come up with. I talked to Todd today, and that will come from surplus. I don't want to say surplus. It's the money that we have in the account to fund us through to the May disbursement of property taxes. We'll have that part of that. That makes sense. We won't be taking it from the. So, is there any questions about that? Okay. So I need a motion and a second on this.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Right, our first and second on.
Public
Anybody have
comment?
any? Oh, we also actually have public comment. Yes, thank you. Is there any public comment about that? Okay. Is there any? Yes. Well, I don't know, man.
Ken Delbesteed, Harold Bolton. I know this is a one-year contract. Have you started work with the commissioners on a contract for the merit officers beyond this year?
No, we have not.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any questions or comments from the council?
So this is the general fund.
So, yeah, so what the sheriff has done is he has transferred money from his general fund budget, which is in the, what line is that? The 3,900 line. Because the items that are in the 3,900 line are items that you can fund through the commissary. Okay, there's only certain things you can fund through the commissary fund. So he came up with $150,000 of items in that line item that he will then fund to the commissary. He took that $150,000 and put it into the salary line item, along with the portion that the council will give, and along with the portion that the commissioners will, the work party's interest. So that will make up the total amount that we need in order to fund the 21% increase.
So the fund isn't in there yet.
Well, not all of it. I mean, our entire budget is not in there. Yes. Does that make sense? I mean, the money comes in over the course of the year. It's not good.
Unlike the commissary.
Right.
No, I do.
Yes. Any other questions? Hearing none. We had a first and second, right? Yes, put it on here. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Aye.
Or aye. Any opposed? Okay, so that passes.
Thank you, council.
With that, before I get to the ordinances, we are going to have to address, and it wasn't written on the budget, and it probably should have been, the merit contract. So, do we have some discussion about that? The council has agreed to fund with the Culp commissioners and the sheriff to fund a contract for 1 year, and it was only for the 1 year. And we had already appropriated for the benefits that were in that contract, and now the 21% increase. I read through the contract today. There's a couple things that I have a problem with. I will tell you what those are. But on the terms of the agreement, it says in A, or number 4A, sorry. In the event that a new agreement is not reached and adopted by both parties prior to the expiration date of this agreement, the terms of this agreement shall remain in force until such a time as the new agreement has been reached and adopted by both parties. In good faith, we have agreed to 1 year on this contract. I can't make an agreement for year 2. And I can't agree to say that this is going to be the contract in year 2 if we don't pass a new contract, because we don't know what our funding is going to be. And that was the whole, that's the whole reason why we had an issue with this to begin with. And then the second thing that I have a problem with in the contract is under review of agreement. It says this agreement is subject to review and change for the 27 and subsequent years, and to the end, the county shall select a review team to meet and discuss proposed changes with the bargaining committee of the merit employees representing the Fraternal Order of Police. Said meeting of this review team shall commence no later than the first week of March of 26 until both parties agree to an extension. I'm telling you now, there's no way that this council in 2 weeks is going to be able to come to the table to negotiate any kind of salary for 27. We don't have our money. We don't have our numbers. We don't know how it's going to affect us. And the agreement was that we would fund this for 1 year. And that we would fund the benefits for 1 year. So I am open for any discussion from the council on this.
I would agree. And I think we have been as clear as we could be with our friends at the church party that we wanted to do everything we could to satisfy the financial requirements and requests of the and we have, in good faith, done that as of tonight. There are other contractual details that are not feasible for us as well. And so those are non-financial issues that have binding that we, in good faith, are not able to commit to because we don't know funding beyond this year. And certainly it would be our best of intentions. Our commissioners have told us that they were willing to do 1 year, and we'll look at next year. And we are committed. I think we have had enough conversation here to recognize that we are committed as a council. The sheriff has stepped up to the plate with his commissary funds to satisfy his participation. So, to the extent that we are able to have a clearer view of our funding for 27 and a commitment from the commissioners on the capital asset improvement fund to support this going forward, we can have that conversation when we have those arrangements in place. But that realistically, we're not going to have numbers. If it's anything like this past year, we're not going to have those numbers probably until August.
Well, with the way that the board has said that we each documents no later than the first week of March 2026, and with those they need to be, in order to stay in line with the contract, we need to not make any decision by March 2026, which is early in the discussion. But we have a discussion to say, we'll continue this discussion when we have our numbers and budget accurately.
And I think that we said that we would do that. That is something that I'm willing to commit to, and I think the rest of the council is going to commit to that. But I'm also not okay with the fact that it says that this contract will remain in effect if we don't have a new contract by the end of the year. Last year was doing the budget for this year was extremely difficult, and we were broadsided by a lot of different things. And I know some people think Senate Bill 1 is not going to be that impactful to our economy, but guys, the more I read on it and the more I see on it, the more I'm very concerned that we are not going to be able to meet our budgetary expenses that we have to make. And that is why I've been very concerned about the fact that I need my departments to come through with this 5% cut, so that we do have a budget and it's something that we can balance. And that is going to require and reducing our workforce in some aspects and in other places to make those cuts. I am willing to sit down and work on trying to make this work for next year. I want that to work for next year. I don't want to not go backwards. But I also have multiple other departments that I have to consider as well. And so, with that being said, with those terms in the contract, I can't sign it because I can't agree to it. And there's no person that's going to sign a contract that's going to agree to something that I sign it and he bounce it out, and we can't do that. But yes, this is a conversation that's going to have to proceed forward within the next couple of months as far as how we're going to fund that next year, and whether or not the commissioners will help us in the following year, and what those budgetary constraints are going to look like in our budget.
This makes me the question are those two details could possibly then an oversight Could those be rectified? I mean, is that something, how do we do it? Hey, if we fix this and this, then, you know, it could be literally pull it up, fix that. Okay, yes. I mean, yes, is that possible? Well, didn't we entertain last year, it was for 2 years that we were looking for funding for, the contract is 1 year. But the council voted on a 2-year funding of that, correct?
The council voted to fund our part for 2 years, the sheriff agreed to fund his part for 2 years, the commissioners only agreed to this year. They did not agree to 2 years.
And that is what the resolution is from that, it's for 1 year.
Yeah, this was the resolution. This was the resolution and the contract that they put together with the bargaining.
Didn't we have some funds though that went into the capital asset improvement fund that should not have gone in there, the trust funds from property taxes that was in there from last year, that should not have gone in there? Could those be used to fund the first year, and then what they're committing to now for the next year? Or is there funds that we now have that we didn't have before?
We have some more funds than that what we had before, yes. But Christie, with all due respect, we have a huge budget, and I don't feel comfortable just appropriating that and doing it. I mean, it's not up to just me, it's up to this entire council to do that. And maybe we'll look at that and we'll say, you know what, this is something we definitely can sustain for the next year after we start looking at those numbers. I do know that, I read an article the other day about the property tax that's going to go on, and really, homeowners are going to see a little bit of relief on all of this, but it's really not where the relief's coming. It comes to small businesses and what do you call it? The taxes that they pay. It's a huge reduction in our property taxes. And I know that the state is really looking hard at really getting rid of property taxes altogether, and they have not really given us the tool to be able to generate the kind of revenue that we need to continue the services that this county wants and expects from us. And that is a concern of mine. I'm not willing to just live on the flip and just say, yeah, let's do this, because that solves the problem for this year, but we have to look long term at what everything is going to happen. That's just...
So for those small changes, you're saying you would know something for those two?
Put it to a vote.
If we took those 2 issues out of there, I would be willing to...
Just strip them out.
And I'd like to get they've been waiting a long time.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would say that...
We can make I'll make a motion to approve it as is.
To approve this as is?
Yes. If I don't get a second, you can,
I understand.
so you did.
As the meeting is ready.
We read this on. We know there's a lot of uncertainty, but we also need to, I think we can do it for next year. That's what a rainy day
Well,
is.
you're committed to do it for next year, with that, regardless. Which could amount to an additional $200,000 or $300,000.
I would reiterate what President Norton said about no later than the first week of March. I mean, that is, it's hard to have our numbers to do.
Councilman Grabowski said we meet, and it may just be meet, and let's set another date, and I think we drug our deal. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty, and I'm not gonna wait until August or September or October to approve another contract, because then we'll say we don't know what we're gonna get in the meeting.
May I just letter in there? So when this reads, unless both parties agree to an extension, so that does mean exactly, so that the council wanted an extension, but the other party did not want the extension, we have to do it.
Can I speak on that and maybe answer some of your questions?
Please.
That's just to open the lines of communication between the bodies that we're going to negotiate. That's not doing anything. What it's trying to do is prevent what we're in now. Like, Okay, so we meet in March and say, cool, we'll meet in June, and we'll meet again in August. Like, it's just slowly getting,
That's an issue.
yeah, like, I think we're getting hung up on the weeds on something with that that's,
The issue really is, what we're doing is committing to this contract in perpetuity unless we can agree to do something different. If we disagree, this contract stays in force. That's why.
Correct.
Would that be an accurate? And so
Right.
we're making the commitment for next year without.
that's two separate issues, I understand that, but we keep going back to the issue of the March thing, and it's not an issue. Right.
There was two things.
Right.
March was one of them.
I understand.
I understand what you're saying, that you're.
Yeah, just don't get hung up on the March date.
Okay.
But it's listed in there, I'm sorry, I guess I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not nominal,
It's-
I mean, it does make a difference. Obviously, if you guys talk to these new people, I mean, they can take advantage.
It's just to open the lines of communication, it's not deciding anything, that's simply just in the,
With power.
to-
Like, if you have two people who are if we're all willing to talk about it, it all works well. Like, we're all willing to talk about it. If they're not working well together, they can take advantage of that clause in there.
no, because it just leaves it as is until you guys come to an agreement.
Well, and I think that is the other problem that I have with the contract, was where it says that if we don't, I mean, I would hope that, I believe that by the end of the year, we're going to have an agreement on what those salaries are going to look like, what those benefits are going to look like. We have to.
I understand, but that's also the protection of the contract for the merit body through the FOP. It's in there for a reason.
I think we can sign the contract today without that. And I think that's better for the council, especially with SB 1
Well, you can't sign it without the merit body voting on it.
I get what you're saying. But
So, I mean, if you're going to, you want to change the details of the contract, you can't do that without the approval of the merit body.
I understand.
You can change it for next year moving forward. And even modify
And there will be no appetite to take that verbiage out of there. I can almost guarantee that. That's their protection.
Because basically, it's just saying things are gonna remain the same for next year. It's not another instance, right? It's just keeping the salary the way it
We've already
is.
taken away the 7% that they originally, year 2 and 3, and that's what, in good faith, they took that out already.
Wait
I
a
think-
second, no, the total increase was a 21% increase, Rob. Their original contract was a portion this year, a portion next year, so they came to 21.
Oh, but
We
it's
agreed to
31% now.
21. It was
It
31%?
was 31%.
It was 26 and 6.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Mr. Flitter, what do you think?
I think we have a motion.
We have a motion and a second.
So what, can you reiterate what the motion was? Because I.
Accept the contract.
Accept the contract.
Exactly as written.
And we have a second from Kristen. Oh, from Bethany, sorry. Okay, is there any other discussion? Okay, well, we need a roll call vote, please.
Council Field,
Yes.
Council Culp,
No.
Council Lycan. No. Council Grabowski.
Yes.
Council Keller.
Yes.
Vice President Hicks.
No.
President Norris.
No. So all I can say is that we've agreed to pay the 21%. We're going to give you that this year. We've agreed to that. We've worked that out. We've worked out the benefits. We're giving you the benefits this year.
We're funding it.
We're funding the contract, but I'm not willing to sign it right now. Not the way it is.
I'll ask you to put that on the agenda for next month. Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
I guess the question, if you're not going to sign it, how do we enforce it? If you're funding the other stuff that comes with it, and we still go back to say, well, yeah, it's to be paid that way. If there's any interruption with that, what's the recourse for the merit body?
Well, we've already passed it in our budget that we would fund that.
We cannot fund it.
Exactly. Like, it's the protection.
I don't plan on.
Well,
But you can't promise that.
I
This body
understand
will
that.
not do that.
I understand that. I just. Why would we do that?
I don't
Well,
know.
my,
We're not gonna do that.
the problem how we just funded it and then implied that we signed it, and that's kind of the problem that we ran into last year. Is that we never, well, we don't hear that we never signed the contract before, we just funded it, and it was just like assumption.
There's never been an issue with it before. We've always had the funds to be able to adapt to do what was asked of us. And so it's always just been we've never signed it, it's just been acquiesced that we agreed to it because we funded it. This year we couldn't fund it. Under normal circumstances, we weren't able to do that, but we did find a way, actually got free funds, create a way to be able to fund that and to be able to give them that 21% increase. Without a contract, we've agreed to do that.
I think it's good faith when you sign the contract.
Well, we gave it to a vote and it didn't pass, so
Well, I'm encouraging you to do this. If you want to continue to debate it, we'll debate it.
I'm not debating it, but
Well, you keep talking, I don't know.
we can put it on the agenda for next month again.
Thank you.
I am. I thought the agreement was that the sheriff would supply $150,000 this year and $150,000 next year. It was a total of $300,000
That is true.
for a 2-year when it was the 21% this year, no increase for next year, which means if you did sign the contract would stay at the 21%, no increase again. That's what it was. That was the agreement.
Yes, but there was also an agreement, the sheriff did that, and the sheriff came through and he said he would do that for 2 years. The council said he would do that for 2 years.
But the agreement,
Commissioners have not agreed to do it for 2 years at this point. They've only agreed to do it for 1. And that was the whole thing. We needed everybody to agree. The commissioners agreed for this year, and they've agreed to give us the $300,000 for the interest. So that's why we're able to proceed forward with this year. Does that make sense?
yes, but when Dr. Green presented it, it was, he would agree, correct me if I'm wrong, you would agree for the 21%, but no increase in 2027. It would stay the same. No reduction, but no increase.
No, absolutely.
So that's why I'm not understanding why we're not.
The issue was, the commitment was based upon a certain set of assumptions. That the council would contribute a certain amount for those 2 years. The sheriff would commit a certain amount, and the commissioners would commit a certain amount for those 2 years. The commissioners decided not to do that. They decided to do it for 1 year.
For $300,000, you're holding up a passage of this.
I'm just saying, by signing the contract, we're committed to what's going to happen next year without knowing what our funding is. And that feels irresponsible to me, because our responsibility is...
I wouldn't pay out of loans. I mean, there's a lot of things
We'll decide that when budget time comes. But to answer your question, that's if the commissioners had decided to go with 2 years, we wouldn't be having this discussion.
for $300,000 and $18 million rainy day for $300,000 to hold this contract.
I agree. I mean, I think this has been kicked down the road for quite some time now. The sheriff has stepped up to put the money in, and, once again, they're led to believe this is all going to be taken care of tonight. The contract would be signed tonight before the end of the meeting when the major asked last week, and then here we are again where...
Our understanding was a 1-year contract. That contract is not a 1 year.
I believe it is a 1-year contract that remains in place.
And it remains in place.
In place for next year.
I don't see a problem with that.
They just wouldn't get a pay increase. It would,
It's not a 1-year contract. It's a contract.
I think we're changing the rules after.
No, we're asking every department to cut 5%, so they want a higher increase. But we're going to guarantee this in perpetuity. I think that's not consistent. That's right. That said, I'm fully supportive of our contribution to the contractual arrangement.
That's true.
The commissioners didn't follow through on that for 2 years.
Absolutely. Did either of you talk to the commissioners and ask if they would be willing to do that?
Yes.
For this year?
I did, and they wouldn't at this point. I mean, they were,
In favor of it? few months ago either, and they decided to in their January meeting.
We can bring it to them, we can ask them.
Yeah. We've already set the funds aside to fund the second year as the council, as was the sheriff. And if the commissioners fund, there's no issue. The issue goes away.
Is the commissioners funds the only issue
That is the,
for next year, for signing the contract?
right now. We've already pledged the council has pledged our funds. So is the sheriff. It's the commissioners that are holding it back right now.
Can you tell me on the phone if we want to sign the contract for us? Because our top dollars is not with this collective bargaining, and that if we just didn't sign it long enough, we would take that power away from the union and it would have to be registered.
I do think that that's a possibility. But I don't think that that's where we're at right now.
I think this council is very
I would second that.
Then I think you need to talk to the commissioners and get them to put their money forward. Because we're willing to push it forward.
$300,000 is holding this up. We still have control.
I mean, we had a first and second and we voted on it.
So you want to reconsider the vote?
No, I mean, Robert's rules, someone that voted.
If they voted no, they can. They can change their vote.
They can take it.
If not, we need to move on, put this on the agenda next month, please.
Just to clarify the term.
We have a couple salary ordinances that we have to deal with. We have resolution 2026-2A, a resolution distributing economic development project funds to the county sheriff food and beverage tax.
We already did that.
Oh, we did that, I just got to sign that one. Here's what I'm not-
2026
C, yeah, so that's the salary ordinance for the sheriff's department.
Well,
I need a motion to approve that.
so moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Has to be roll call.
Oh, sorry, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That passes. The next salary ordinance is the Highway Fund 1176, salary ordinance 2026 GD. Can I have a motion for that? Mr. Steele? Second, Mr. Dr. Green. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes, that passes. Next is salary ordinance 2026 UG, the rainy day fund 1186. Do you have a motion for that?
Second.
A roll call vote?
Yes.
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 Yes. That passes. The next one is salary ordinance 2026 2F for the DOC Reentry Fund 9149 and the DOC Mental Health Support 9150. Do you have a motion for that?
Yes. Steele.
Steele, second.
Second.
Mr. Culp, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Salary ordinance 2026-2E, high-tech crime unit fund 9167, have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Rio, second. Second. Councilwoman Lightfoot, roll call vote, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. And right. Is there any public comment?
I just had a quick question. If the commissioners has already signed that contract and the sheriff has signed it, it just come down to you guys signing it. The commissioners have already agreed to that. That's the verbiage that was in there that was handed to the commissioners as well. So how are we coming up with the commissioners aren't agreeing with it if they've signed the contract?
Because the commissioners had to agree in the finance board to transfer $300,000 from the interest that they're taking to the general fund in order for us to fund it. They agreed to do that for 1 year, but they didn't agree to do it for 2.
That they signed the contract, agreeing to what's in the contract.
But they had signed the contract initially before we could have funding for it. I mean, they've always just signed the contract. There's never been any.
Well, they negotiated. I mean,
I understand
That doesn't mean they'll give us the money
I
to
understand
pay
they
it.
negotiated, but they don't fund it. We have to fund it. We're the ones that have to fund it. And we weren't able to do that this year without having a creative way to be able to accomplish that. And that was with the commissioners, and with the council, and the sheriff.
is there a way that the county could do like a forensic audit like APD did when they found all the money and gave the raises to the city employees? Could you do that? I mean, I don't know what it takes. Do you know what it takes, Todd?
Every year.
So I don't know if the difference between that and the audit that we always do.
Okay, but you can check into that.
I can look into it.
Okay.
Council, I just want to, touch base. The 21% is what they would stay at, and of course, the contract would stay the same if it's not agreed to after negotiations going into this year. We just have to be careful because even with this 21%, these officers are not even the top paid in this county. And then I'm afraid of a loss of manpower if we don't get into a solid contract, and then we're going to be scrambling to try to fill positions of individuals that's left. Certainly individuals that just come on in the last 3 years. Those are all at risk of going somewhere else. And that's 11 of them. So, that's something we got to look at. High turnover if we don't come to a negotiation to get this squared away for the next, get the contract signed. So, just want to put that out there as a reminder. I know you're well aware of the issues that we have. If we don't go through with the contract. Thank you.
Caitlin Mercy, Madison County Sheriff's Department. I have a few questions and also some comments to make. My first question is, how long have you had our contract?
Actually, I just got it.
An hour and a half before this meeting.
I did not have, I had your original contract that you guys had done previously earlier in the last year. I just got today the one that was supposed to be rewritten for the 1 year contract.
When we met with you guys before, both of you had copies of our contract,
The original contract.
which has that verbiage in there. The verbiage that you guys have an issue with, that has been in every single contract we have ever had in the history of the Sheriff's Department. So why is it an issue today? Why was that issue just found today, the day of the meeting, and it was never mentioned in the past as an issue?
Because last year, or this budget year, was not a normal year for us. We normally would have been able to fund the contract and it wouldn't have been an issue. But because of the changes that are coming from the state government and so forth, it's making our budget a little bit harder to do.
But why today, February 10th? The day of the meeting, is this all of a sudden an issue? When last month you assured us you were signing the contract. Assured us.
Well, when I read it today and I saw those two things in there, and the one I can get past, but the other one, we've been very clear that this is a 1 year contract. And that doesn't mean that it extends on past this year if we don't have the funding to do it.
Nothing has been clear in this. We were assured things over and over and over. In every meeting we come back, in every meeting, there's an excuse. And today, an excuse for something that you guys have had in hand for months. That clause has been in there in every contract. And you guys, if you had read the contract the whole way through, you would have seen it. So why it's an issue all of a sudden today blows my mind.
My question is, did we fulfill your contract this year?
This year, for 2026?
Yes.
The salary portion of it, but that's not the whole contract. You fulfilled portions of it. If I fulfilled portions of my job, do you think that I would not be in some hot water with my bosses? If I only went out to animal complaints or I only went to armed robberies, I'm not fulfilling my whole job.
But our job is to fund a contract. That's our job.
And you have the funding for that
We
contract.
have funded it for this year. We followed through with that. We never signed a contract. We agreed that we would try to facilitate that contract by funding it, and we did that.
You agreed that you would sign the contract at this meeting, verbally. I asked you to go back and watch last meeting because you assured us when Mike Warner was up here at the microphone that you would be signing at this meeting. Exactly how it was written. If you got the funding you needed, then that's how you guys said you would fund it. And you would sign it. And at the last meeting, you knew that the commissioner's resolution was on the table and it was for 1 year. Why was there not an issue at the last meeting? You knew what the commissioner's resolution said last month. Did we not?
I just got a copy of the resolution today, and I knew that they had agreed to 1 year. But at the end of the day, when I was reading through the contract, this contract is saying that this contract continues on, and it's going to be funded for year 2 or 3, however long until we
Because that's what a contract is. Otherwise, it's a bonus.
understand that.
And we agreed to a contract.
And then you told me that we couldn't guarantee a contract past 1 year.
That's not what was said to us. What was said to us was that there was an agreement that this would be funded for 2 years, and that's what you guys got.
It was not funded for 2 years. The commissioners have only agreed to fund it full time.
So again, why was this not brought up at the last meeting as an issue? You knew what the commissioner's resolution was at the last meeting.
I'll be honest with you, I had not read through the contract since it had been changed to 1 year. I read it initially when we started this process, but I did not read it again until today when I got a hold of the 1 year contract, because I needed to see if that language was in there. And then when I read that other paragraph, I'm like, this is not a 1 year contract technically, because if we can't negotiate it and to get a new contract for the next year, then it extends on.
So then technically our last 4-year contract is a forever contract. Every contract you have is going to have that language in it because it's a contract.
Well, then if that's the case, then you'd be staying at the same salary that you were last year. And I don't think that's what you guys want.
It is absolutely not what we want, and it's not what we were promised.
Well, we
You
got to the
promised when the
funding,
contract is signed.
for this year, give you a 21% increase. That is a huge increase, and I understand that you guys are still not paid what other surrounding counties are, but we are not other surrounding counties. We have a lot of different obstacles that we have to address here that we don't have in other counties. And financially, you're not able to do that. And, you know, I appreciate the fact that you guys, what you do, and I think that we gave you a substantial increase of 21%. I've got other employees that have not, and you guys have always gotten a raise. Every year with your contract, you've always gotten an increase in your salaries. The rest of my departments have not received anything in 2 years. But we found a way to do the 21% for you guys, which is a substantial increase. It's not what you would like to see. I know you'd like to see more based on what other counties are. But all of our employees are underpaid in compared to other counties.
Whereas we would like to see more, we agreed to the 21%. That puts us nowhere near surrounding counties.
Well, just to put it into perspective, you guys will be one of the closest ones after this 21%. I understand we have years and years to work on that later, but this 21% puts you closer to surrounding counties comparatively to your other elected officials and positions.
And I'm aware of that. I worked on that salary comparison. I'm aware of that. And whereas we appreciate the 21% raise more than you guys can even imagine, it needs to be a raise, not a bonus to keep people. It's not a raise if it's not in a contract. It's a bonus that you're calling a raise, is essentially what this would be.
No, because the old contract is still in effect.
Then we can go back to it.
Another.
That
That's
doesn't
what
make
you're
sense.
saying, that it essentially would be a one-year bonus, revert back to the old contract if nothing else is agreed.
Right, but there's already plans to be working on this new
Well, they've
contract for
heard
the next
about all
year.
these plans.
Sure, but we're trying to sign a
For
contract.
2 years. 2 years. We have trust issues. I mean, you've given us no reason to not have trust issues. So sitting here telling us, trust us, we won't give you guys, we won't take back your 21% raise, we can't trust that. We can't trust from one meeting to the next that we'll follow through on signing a contract.
And that's something we're gonna have to look at without proper info, without proper funding. We've already assigned ourselves for 1 year. That's what we're, as a council, agreeing to. Obviously, there's people who disagree, but it didn't pass.
I'm afraid if the commissioners would have given the 2 years, we would have still be sitting.
I full-heartedly disagree with you. I think that's
For
ludicrous.
$300,000.
That's crazy. That's bullshit. No,
Yes, it
no,
is.
it's not wrong. That's crazy.
That's what we're worried about,
We disagree.
$300,000.
Maybe you wouldn't have voted for it, I would have. So I think what you're saying is
Yeah,
nonsense.
we're gonna move on, I'm sorry. Did you have other questions besides that?
I didn't get my questions answered, so thank you.
So irrespective of your discussion about that raise and irrespective of the discussion about the collective bargaining agreement, I think that someone needs to speak for the other 500 and some employees that work for this county. Ms. Keller, to your point, they're being underserved too. And while you may not have the funds to compensate them in the form of salary, I think there are other ways that perhaps you can make things a little more equitable than they are. So I would ask that perhaps you and the commissioners and the HR department look at things such as additional holidays, additional paid days off, things of that nature that make things a little fairer for the people who push snow, who make the business piece of the county work, who file deeds, who inspect properties to make sure that economic development happens. I think those people are all being left behind in these discussions. And that's not making any value judgment about your contract or discussions with the sheriff's office. It's just there's a reality that there's another piece to county government than public safety. And I think that we need to look at creative ways to compensate them to make it competitive for those people to stay as well. So that's all I've got. Thanks so much.
David Sargent, Anderson, Indiana. 3 questions. Are we just dealing with the merit officers now or just the end of meeting where the public's speaking? Public comment? Okay, I have 3 things. First of all, in dealing with the merit officers, with what you have approved right now, are they getting 2026 pay or does the contract have to be signed before they get their money? So they're already getting that money until the details can be worked out. Thank you very much. So this 21%, they'll actually see in their paychecks right now. Thank you.
We're gonna get back paid from January 1st.
Back pay from January 1st, and that's already in the works. That's what they'll get. So at least you'll have your money until the contract can be worked out. Okay. 2 things. The joint executive session with the commissioners. Is that public or just private? Private meeting, okay, thank you. And the other thing is, you mentioned SB1 presentation. Is that something that the Council of Governments or whatever, is that something the public can see? Where is that at?
What is the website, Todd?
Probably on the Association of Indiana Counties.
Association of Indiana Counties? Okay. Thank you very much. That's what I had. I appreciate your time.
Hello. My
name is Brian Bell. I'm a resident of the city of Anderson. I just wanted to touch base with you. I retired from the Sheriff's Department probably, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. Probably negotiated 3 contracts, maybe 4. That language has been in there from the very first one. I find it appalling that you guys didn't know that. I mean, you need to read the whole contract. I think they're getting put in the middle, and I also say Commissioner Richland most definitely knew it was in there. So I believe all the commissioners knew it was in there. You should have known it was in there. I think they're getting put in the middle and squeezed between you guys, between the two, the commissioners and the council. I think there's plenty of time to resolve it, but you need to look around and look at the pay of the other agencies. And I know you say we're Madison County and we don't have any money, but you've got good officers here. You've got good young officers, and they're going to leave. There's plenty of opportunity outside of Madison County. You don't want that to happen. The 21% that you're giving them is a great pay raise, but it doesn't even make them the second highest paid department in the county. So just think about it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a very heated debate. I would just like to say that going home as a citizen, I would like to feel assured that the officers that protect us are ones that are happy and are focused on doing their job. And when I witness these things, I begin to wonder about procedure. And so what I heard was time. And so I recommend tightening up the procedure. If there is a contract where there's questions, the attorney should have reviewed that or given it to him before this meeting, especially if there's already been delays and detriment. So there's a clear understanding of the contract. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd encourage the council to encourage the merit officers by telling them that you've never signed this contract and you've always honored it. You know, they say they don't know that they can trust you, but they've trusted you for years and your signatures haven't been on the contract. I would encourage you to reach out and tell them that you'll do everything possible if it's within your capability to honor that contract. Even without you signing it, because that's what you've done for years, decades.
The council's never signed a contract, even though they should have. We have had contracts that were signed. I sent a vote. In the past, there is contracts that have been signed by the county council. I was just saying, this last contract was not signed, but the one prior to that did have the county council signature. No, it didn't. Yeah, because I would have, I sent it to Todd and Karen, but they didn't cut it. They did have to. I can send it to you. Okay, that would be great. Is there any other public comment? Okay, if no other public comment, do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Don't pass it.